Jason Wasey, Travis Kramer, Scott McCorney, Jeremy Hansen, Paul Cross. I didn't have time to get all the maps updated, so I don't have them. Yeah. I think I'm having audio issues. I don't know if anyone can hear. Becky is here to discuss this, but I don't know how to fix the audio. I don't know if anybody else does.
Katie, I can hear you. The guys are kind of hard to hear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Is it not coming through the right? Oh, okay. Is like this microphone setting? Or is it this echo canceling speakerphone? I don't know.
Katie, you muted yourself again.
Okay. Can one of you guys talk? Is it working over there?
Can you hear us now?
It's still really lightly.
Yeah, but I don't. I don't know what I don't know what you want me guys. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know anything about technology like this.
Okay, how's that?
That's perfect.
All right, much better. All right, sorry about the trouble. Okay, item B, discussion and possible approval of tree removal at 655 North 8th Street. Becky, that's what you're here to talk to us about?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
I'm the granddaughter of Arlene Cushman. I'm in the process of getting her house sold. She is almost 89 years old. My husband and I FaceTimed our arborist. He does not want to speak because he did not actually, he saw it on FaceTime, not came out. But our tree root was actually shown more than the person across the street. We did some measurements. We're 16.5 feet and they are 16 feet from the road. But our complete root ball was shown when I went on October 14th out to the house to help move stuff. The water in the front was broke and the guy was up to his shoulders in front of the tree with the tree root showing, trying to fix the pipe in front of my grandmother's house. And I have a worry about her insurance or whoever's going to own the house next, their insurance when the tree falls forward.
How much of the root was exposed? Was it, I mean, can you give us like a percentage of around the tree?
Probably 50 to 75% of it.
Okay. And there was damage to one of those roots?
The whole ball, I mean, they went straight down right in front of it.
Okay. And we don't have any pictures of the repair, do we? James, do you have anything?
I don't know if I do or not.
I believe it was October 14th when the pipe in front of the tree was busted.
And the pictures we have, Kate, do we know when those were taken or where are those from?
Those yeah, John or Travis had sent this.
Yeah, I took those
Oh, okay.
after,
Should I give you an exact date?
After they had,
boy,
so, because I mean, the concrete's poured, so obviously long before.
yeah, this
Or
was,
this was well after
No, the concrete was already poured.
when the pipe broke.
When they
Yes, the concrete was poured when the pipe was already broke. They had to
They were-
tear apart the concrete again in front of my grandma's partial driveway and into her yard.
They were back.
They were backfilling.
And they hit a curb stop.
They cut the-
Oh, gotcha. I don't.
I think these pictures were September 24th.
We have an estimate of what the cost is on this at all.
No, I don't know.
I haven't heard anything today of what they're charging us for the repairs. I can find out. I can ask. Then we can table it till the next meeting.
So Becky, your only solution is to have the tree removed. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, that's what our arborist had told us. The only safe way to do it is to have the tree removed because of how much the front of the root ball was showing.
Okay.
And the size of the tree. He said if it would have been a smaller tree, it would probably, but that tree is huge. And the more the taller they are and the more damage you do to the root, the harder they fall.
Sure.
And I don't want this to fall on the new owner here in 1 to 2 years when it actually does fall, you know? Probably grandma.
It's the unknown factor, how much of the roots got harmed during that. They got cut quite a bit or not. It looks like it's been backfilled pretty good and I walked it this weekend. There's a pretty good amount of dirt there. I mean, the roots are showing just because of the grade and the slope, but
Were you able to witness any damage to the roots, James?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
They did cut through some roots. They had to get down to it. I couldn't tell you what percentage
Okay,
the roots they damaged.
Because our previous conversation was, let's wait till next spring to see what it looks like. So.
And I'm sorry I was not at the last meeting earlier tonight. I've been dealing with a death and getting grandma settled
No,
into
you're-
her new home.
On trees. But the curb stop was only 5 foot deep. I know roots for trees that big are usually pretty deep. So I mean, you're talking only about 5 foot of one side of the tree, and they didn't cut all of the roots. Just so you guys have an idea. And it's not like they just went in there and chopped all the roots on that side of the tree.
well, our options are to remove the tree or to wait and see. Do we want to take the risk of that tree falling down and then it being our fault? It's kind of hard for us to tell what that risk is.
If you want to wait on the price, we can sure ask JDO. And at the next meeting, we can discuss further, or maybe the price doesn't matter at this point.
Price doesn't matter as much as knowing when that tree's gonna fall over. That's the one.
Well, it's gonna fall over eventually or die.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's gonna live forever, but.
Oh, I got some that are, sorry.
Some that just fall down.
You guys, it'll be all right.
Do you guys want to be done with this or do you wanna wait and see?
How many other trees we had to taken out during this project that weren't quite in the original plan?
I think we added 3 or 4 trees that weren't on the 2 trees.
Well, not the driveway on Dodge that we had to, that the gentleman wanted the driveway to.
So 2 unexpected trees through the whole project.
This was before the project started, so.
Becky, are you all right if we get an estimate on the tree removal and table this till next month to make a decision?
That's fine with me. When is your next meeting?
It'll be the 3rd Monday in December.
All right,
So, are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
I think maybe that'll help us make a decision.
I'd say get three bids and let's make a decision. Yep.
We'll get some bids and discuss it at our next meeting, if that's okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you for your time. All right, item A, Cassie's here to present a donation from the Arlington Community Church.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm with the Arlington Community Church and the Fall Festival. Our kind of part of our Fall Festival is to give back to the community, so we are giving back $750 from the proceeds of the Fall Festival, so. That's what I came to bring you tonight. I'm not gonna complain about anything or anything, so there you go. And I just
Thank you.
signed it, so there you are.
All right.
No. Thank you very,
You can switch hats and come help us too, probably.
let's document that, no, we're good.
Nice.
And thank you for working with us through the confusion.
Oh, yeah, it all.
And know that-
we Figure things out.
Real quick.
Super hard to
All right.
cluster, we're good.
I have a feeling item B is gonna be quite a bit of discussion. Let's move that down one and go to item C, discussion and possible approval of parking lot repairs at the Arlington Public Schools.
Mine's on that eighth and Dodge, the south end of our parking lot. And then on your Dodge Street, yeah, the east end, I'm sorry.
You've done the South Park one.
But the way it ended up, the kids we can't even park down there by the curb anymore. I mean, and you can go look at it, it's a good angle. Johnson,
That's pretty steep. Well, it was used as a staging area, and so a lot of things were piled up, dirt, debris and things like that piled up during the construction process. And I don't think that it got back down to grade that it was. They leveled it in the center, but it slopes then down towards the street and the curb. And then they only put a small amount of rock right down the middle, so they didn't bring it back to gravel the way it was. So right now, it's like, after a day like today, it's really a muddy mess. And they can park in it, but they can't get close enough to the curb, so we can't do two roads like we could do before, because they'll back into each other trying to back out.
well, and I don't know how many trucks was in that whole setup, but it used to be that kind of tough rock that we put there originally.
Mhm.
What they put back was a base, might be a half inch,
Okay,
and they barely did any of it. And you're more than welcome to look or go up or whatever.
we both looked at it. We were up there today.
I think our hand was put out pretty good for them to use that for 5 months. I went above and beyond to help for the whole project. But, I mean, to me, I don't see how that's just going to be left like that and walk away.
Here's what I remember during the middle of construction, they had talked about that slope. And John and I were there talking with them, and I thought that we had asked if you guys would be willing to plant grass in that slope section. And we never talked about that.
Someone who lived across the street told me that they saw grass on the plans, and that's the only way that I found out that there were grass on the plan.
So the concern was if they put rocks all the way down to the street on that slope. I mean, the slope is what it is because of just trying to make 4 uneven streets meet and remove that hump in the intersection.
That they have there forever that they brought in there was still part of that, and none of that's come down. And I don't, you can grade it down to back to where they can park there. And then we'll deal, like I say, with the rock or the grass, if you're saying that's what they decided it was gonna be planted back there.
Mhm.
But that was never, I tell you, in my end, it was never. And like I said, I think we went above and beyond with them. And I saw the neighbor up to the north there, Mr. Holstrom. I mean, they're back in his yard on his east side of his garage, and they're grading because he wants the water to slope. They're going above and beyond for the guy. And I know, like I said, I think the school went way out of the way to help them and do the whole thing, because it was a big, and it's included, and it looks good. But you just can't, I mean, the way that's left is just.
So their concern was, what I was trying to get at was that if we put rocks all the way to the curb, they're just gonna wash down in the street. And we don't want that. So would we be willing to try planting grass there and see if that's something that people can drive on, park on? It's really hard to tell from these pictures. They're not quite at the same spot. I mean, I can kind of see that yellow house in the pictures. I can see about the same amount of foundation, but I don't know. I don't know if these are close enough to the same spot to actually gauge that, the elevation of the parking lot. I mean, looking at the fence. We could probably have them take some dirt out of there. Then what's gonna happen to your fence? I mean, if we keep digging here, are we gonna dig ourselves deeper into a hole, damage the
I'm
fence?
not worried about going to the fence. I'm worried about coming to the street.
Mhm.
The kids are probably back 8 feet that they park now. With you and grass or whatever you want to put there, and like, so John, I wouldn't have them put rock all the way there, because I don't want to create more of a mess for you guys and move it, where it hitting in the streets. But I want it to where it can be level enough, whether it's rock or grass, so they can pull down. Because it's such a slope now, I think you can't do it. Because whether Paul, it's rock or grass, you're right, kids, they're gonna drive over it, so it doesn't matter. But I just want them to be able to go down there and don't lose any of that in between the cars.
So we have pictures of people who were parked along there before the project. And they're not parked up on the curb anyway. I don't know if you're,
I will give you the curb here, they're parked here.
you can come look at the pictures I have if you want, Lawrence. There's, I mean, so I've seen what we redid, but I can also see where they're parked. I would say that slope is.
Would you
about
say
that
this
same.
slope is the same as it is now?
No, not at all. But what I would say is as close as they are to the curb.
They can't even get that close now, so we're past that tree. You go back up and look at it now. We can go right now if you want to.
Well, I don't want to go.
And I don't care if they park, I don't care if you guys put grass all along here.
Right.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But you can't have it at the slope it's at. And you can't tell me this slope is what it was before. And the fence, you can leave that. I don't, however you gotta do it.
Sure.
But you look at them now, they're parking all the way back on this tree.
Well, this one is parked at that tree, is it not?
I'll give you this. You give me this,
Yeah.
I'll be quiet about this. John can testify to how flat this is.
Sure,
So if you want to make this that flat, I'll be quiet. I'm good with it.
sure.
And if they want to park over here, they can, but I have the option for them to go here. But I'm not gonna go out and tell them. But
Sure.
if we want to go back flat here, Mr. Weesey, I'm good with it. If you
So-
can do that.
So your suggestion is to keep grading this way and to take that slope down from
So they, yeah,
there to, say, the middle of the parking lot?
Yep.
Because at some point, then we're gonna be looking at the parking lot like
I know.
this. And I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that we don't do something that, oh.
it's
no,
gonna
we're
make cause more problems. I agree. No, my thing, it's such a slope, they don't have they can't get anywhere near there. And what we end up doing, you end up worse here.
Mhm.
It gets to be a worse deal. I would like to say, I'm with you. I totally agree with you. I don't want to put rock out there and make life worse for you guys either. If we go grass there, but it's not so bad, so at least if they come down there, they can. That's all I'm trying to get at. Cause when they did it and they put their little rock up here, this here and all back is just a not mud, but it's, and that's what I told John. I said, I'm not here to get the 1.5 inch rock there and make it beautiful because it wasn't perfect for us. I mean, over the time we did, but just to have it to where they can at least utilize that whole setup. That's where it is now. I go, you can't do it.
Well, the
'Cause
rock
this-
is the cheapest part. I'm not too worried about the rock, but what I'm worried about is
You
if
tried
we
1.5
grade
inch
this,
rock.
if we grade this, well, it's cheaper in the grand scheme of things to dump rock than to get equipment up here. I guarantee you the mobilization is gonna be more than the rock.
I agree with you there too.
So if we slope this and the whole car is on a slope instead of just, if they were to pull up to the curb right now, the brake is about in the middle of a car. And
Right.
that's why nobody wants to park.
Right,
Because it's.
right. And that's why like
So
that,
these-
whoever parked this when you took this, I don't know. Do you want to measure this one or do you want to get the one further? And I'm like I say, with all of us together on it, I just want to where they have that to be able to do that. And I'm with you. If it's better with grass, then it's better with grass. And then hopefully down the road, we're not talking about anymore and this is all concrete is my dream, but we'll see. But
Have you guys concrete, Lou?
yeah, I have, and it's very scary. It is very scary. But if you want to give me the big rock, 1.5 inch, I'll be quiet now. I got the equipment. I'll move it. If you want to price me out 1.5 inch rock from here, all the way back to the north end, the west end of that parking lot that they wiped out, I'll move it all day long and I'll leave you guys alone. Well.
Not all day, we have some other things.
So do you want me to get, because Mike Greasy can price that out for me and then just dump it all there and then I can take care of it. If you guys want to pay the bill for the 1.5 inch rock.
So if we put the 1.5 inch rock, you're gonna be okay with the slope the
Nope.
way it is?
Nope.
So we need to break.
No, I'm just saying, if he's saying about the price of concrete rock, I'm saying, if you give me the rock, I'll figure out. I would say
you'll
you slope
it the
this
way you
down.
want. You'll
You
slope.
pull this down to where they can come down there without thinking they're gonna slide off, and if we end up throwing grass there, we end up throwing grass there. And I'll let you guys use your judgment. I don't think you need the 1.5 inch because it's more than we all wanna do. But just back, you can just see where all the trucks coming over and just doing it, has just taken it down. And they're just dirt. I would just like to have something. And I don't expect you guys to go back to what it was or none of that.
Mm.
I just want to, when they go through it, they ain't walking through mud and we're dragging mud back out to rock on the street for John and everybody. That's my big thing. And if you guys are good with taking some of it down and you put the grass there and they have a good little slope, I'm happy with that too. Whether Johnny does this or that, none of us are gonna control it. But just when they parked there that day, they were just so far back. That was my big fear, that you lose that length of that.
So I want to be clear, you're okay with us doing nothing more than getting rock and planting some grass?
Yep, and just level that off and
Okay.
then plant your grass. No, you will.
Okay.
No, and I should say, I mean,
I'm-
it's about the 1.5 inch. I don't
Where was
want,
the all day long part? Did anybody else hear that?
what? Do you want to really want to do it?
I know, I'm just,
Do you want to get the 1.5 inch rock?
We can get the rock, I'm sure.
I'll price that whole lot out and you give me an inch and a half rock.
We'll get rock.
Okay,
Or
then
we'll
we're gonna go
we'll
top to
make
bottom,
them pay
side to
for it.
side.
We'll make them pay for it, or we can get some rock.
But help me understand to make sure I understand you correctly.
I am,
So,
I'm not-
the
I'm
right of
good with
way, like, because the way that it looks is that they slope the right of way up to like what they leveled off, right?
I think, yeah, I would assume, yeah.
And but what you're wanting then is to take dirt out of past the right of way and level it more,
I want,
so it's
I,
more sloped all
that
the
you're not,
way.
when you look
across,
now,
right?
you're this.
So the slope is more gradual.
Yeah.
Right
Yep,
now,
yep,
it's too
yep.
steep.
Yeah, so right now it goes like this,
Right.
but you're wanting it to go,
However they come up. to
bring
not
that
get
hump
crazy.
out and
So they
kind of
kinda pull
level
up.
it down.
And I don't, like I said, I'm with you guys. I don't want where you got rock out here, then it's a waste of your money and a
Right.
waste of ours.
So how much
Everybody's time.
how much space do you need from curb to the first?
I can measure it if you want what it was. I couldn't tell you what it is. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Here it looks
your
like
basic
it's-
20-foot car parking, 18-foot car parking, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. I'm done giving everybody shit. If you come up with that, grade it down, put whatever rock in there. And then to get rid of some of the mud, and if the boss is good with it. And then if you roll grass out there, then that's what we do. Whether they're growing, who knows, but if you roll that out, this was all.
Grass, just because it wasn't grass.
No, because, well, on the very bottom side of it, you had a little bit back to the one tree. But it's nothing that was, I still think it's a waste of the money too on that end. Like I said, my bigger concern, like saying, is how that, and maybe you can't bring it down. Maybe I'm crazy on it too. Maybe you can't take it all the way down that I want to take it down like this was. Because I think a lot of this up in here where they were staging, I think a lot of that height came from leftover dirt, is my opinion.
And see, I'm just having a hard time with these pictures because I can't tell. You know, I can see about the same amount of foundation of this house, but this one's definitely further behind the tree than this one is. So I'm having a hard time gauging that.
Paul? Does that help?
Yeah, there you go. See, because you can see, because your grass fading wise, but you can see how flat you are.
But there is grass there.
This is
Somewhat, yeah.
somewhat of it, but I mean, you're here more, but like I say, that's what I'm saying, how flat we are here. We're nowhere near that now.
Mhm.
That's my big, and I can't, and you guys can't either. You ain't gonna make as far as them pulling there, but the option of doing that is gone.
Mhm.
That's my only, the concern we got is that they can't pull up because it's such a steep step. Because the way it looks like to me, when you look at the lot now at the park, it does this. And maybe that's what I don't know, whatever, but that's how it kind of goes now when you look at it. But yeah, thanks. That's a perfect shot. That you can see how flat it was coming through there. And then it ends up looking like that. But I agree with you, Phil. I don't want to put the rock on that all the way towards that, but I think you can get it close enough to. And I think the rock from your guys' end are in, because the grass ain't gonna grow anyway. But it's however we all want to go with it to agree with it. Mine's just the mouth up here. That's the final say back there.
Well, if there was grass there before, I don't know how we can say grass won't grow now, but I'm willing to have them look at trying to grade this so that we can get a longer slope.
Yep.
So that a car is not parking in the
Yep.
middle of the peak of the.
Yeah, and then wherever you come up, determine the view, then that is what it is.
Is there any way to just remove some of that extra dirt that was left there? We just haul it away?
I think that's what the part of it is, am I right? Is it what the sloping it all up is why it dropped down somewhat?
You know, I don't, it's,
I think judging by the houses on the other side of the street, you can make an argument that that street dropped a lot.
I think that's.
Because that's why those two trees are gone on the north side of the street, is because their slope to meet the new street was so much that we exposed half of their tree root mass. So I do think the street had started dropping all the way up close to 9th Street. So I think the argument that maybe there's more stuff in there, is it measurable? I don't know. Is the street lower? I think that's a measurable yes. And obviously, You know, it's tough when we had all these streets that have been coated with rocks for years and nothing was really, you know, I mean, we're trying to get the streets back in line and make 4 streets meet at an intersection where there was a hump before.
Well, I'm not, like I say, I think what you guys did, I'm not, no way, shape or
So
form bashing that in at all.
where do you think that peak is, where the grade level's off? You think that's 10 feet away from the curb?
You mean at the?
Where the slope starts to go down to meet the curb? How far away do you?
Farther than that, probably 15 to 16.
Yeah, I'd say 15 feet. I was up there this weekend.
Probably 16 feet back. I think if you cut back 20 feet or try, the only thing we can do is just get out there and start doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, short of doing it, you know, it's hard to visualize what's gonna happen.
I do think ultimately we're gonna want some grass there to keep the rocks from coming in the street. If we don't do that, I think we're gonna have problems, don't you?
I would like to see rock, especially on a slope like that. I would like to see some grass there or
Rock,
something
yeah.
to hold it.
You can get rid of the slope, you don't have to worry about it.
I don't know that you're gonna get rid of that
No,
much
I'm not,
slope,
no.
Lawrence, unless we go all the way back to the fence and all the way in. I don't think that's in the city's interest to regrade the whole parking lot.
Yeah.
For a street. I mean, it isn't. So, I mean, short of, yeah, you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah,
It's not
no.
in the city's best interest to go back 60 feet and regrade a whole parking lot.
Well, I think meeting in the middle would be to try and put this slope to a longer slope so it looks better when a car's parked there. Let's see what we can do, whether we have to do that or we can get them to come back out with a grader and help us out. Let's see where that goes. And definitely down by the corner, I think we gotta have some grass down there,
Well, maybe,
like we had on the corner. Maybe it doesn't have to go all the way up, but
maybe I can talk to the county. If they have a grader around there, they can come in and shave some off, push it into a pile and give us a price on that. Might save us some money.
I think the first phone call is to JEO and see
To JEO, well, I've already talked to JEO.
and what they say.
They said that it's not.
It's restored.
Yeah, they said that's.
it's pretty hard to see all these things from plans, you know, I mean, they give us plans, we approve them. We can't see all these elevations and, you know, it's hard to put them all into real life until they're actually digging up somebody's sidewalk and realize it's gonna be a foot lower than the old one, so. I feel like we can work with you on this, try and get that stretched out a little bit so that it looks better and people will park somewhere other than the middle of the parking lot.
I just like to say, all right, I just appreciate the effort, it's good for, you know.
Yeah.
Doing it, yeah. I'm fine, whatever, like I say, come up with what best way to go.
All right,
Yeah, I really appreciate it on our end.
we'll work on that this week. As soon as we have a plan, we'll let you know what we're gonna try and do. Make sure we can work around. Or you've got guys, you got people parking there now, so
Yeah.
we'll have to,
Yeah.
we'll have to give you some notice.
Like I said, you see where, like I said, then we'll just, we gotta, you know, stop their way to do it, or however long, whatever you guys think, whatever you come up with, once we figure out a good plan between everybody.
You okay with
I
that?
said access to a couple weeks.
Yeah, like
All
that.
right.
That's fine, that works for you guys, it's much appreciated.
Well, as soon as we have an idea how we can move dirt, we'll let you know and we'll try and schedule something with you guys so that you know. So that there's not a road grader up there. At the same time buses are unloading.
Like I said,
All right. Does that cover everything for you guys? All right.
thank you all,
Thanks for your time.
guys.
All right, let's go back up to item B, discussion and possible approval of Fourth Amendment to Water Tower Communication Site Agreement with Verizon Wireless.
Nathan Ward is on the Zoom for this.
Okay. Nathan, what do you have for us?
Well, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to join you guys. So I'm sure you're very familiar with the Verizon Wireless installation on the water tank out at I think that's out at your maintenance garage, right?
Yes. Yep,
So a couple of things. One, they're looking to upgrade technology. Currently, they are operating essentially 4G LTE equipment. They are going to upgrade the LTE antennas just to a newer variety, and then also add some 5G antennas. So removing 6 antennas and putting 6 back up. So that's just all part of technology and trying to keep up so that everybody's phone and data works the way that it's supposed to. And in addition to that, that original lease agreement with 3 amendments over the years is due to expire at the end of August next year. So we're also looking to add additional time to the agreement as well.
These plans are pretty, for a layman to look through these, can you give me an overview of how much equipment is gonna change? You said six antenna are coming off and new ones are going up. Are these gonna be larger or smaller?
They are, 3 of them are drastically smaller than what's up there, and 3 of them are a little bit bigger than what's up there.
Yeah.
And all occupying the same space and location. There will be a structural modification and upgrade to the, whether you call it a handrail or corral, so that the railing that these antennas are mounted to, I
That
believe
would
you
be in
guys.
mount photos, mount
Yes,
photos 2 through 4?
yes, correct.
Okay,
So that requires some additional, what we call kickers, which attach the hand railing and brace the hand railing to the top of the water tank. I believe you guys have added a second carrier to the top of that water tank. I'm not sure who that is. I know US Cellular has their own tower site on that same parcel. So in the running of the mount analysis, so specifically that corral or hand railing, it was determined that it needs to be bolstered, and we intend to do that work and complete it so that it accommodates not only the new Verizon equipment, but whomever's other antennas are up there as well. So we're making sure that we get that engineered and established so that it's all safe.
so other than the bolsters, we're really not adding much to the tower. I saw 2 cabinets were coming out. And one,
I did not look at the ground equipment.
oh, okay, that was in the ground. Okay,
Yeah, I really focused just on evaluating the top of the water tank structure. Let me just get down to the ground equipment here.
There's plenty of room in the tower. My concern is the weight on the top of the tower. Is there a big weight difference?
No, there is not. In fact, we're probably diminishing the overall weight and just making sure that we're capturing the proper engineering design overall, because those specifications do change over time. The engineering for wind and ice loading are upgraded typically every 3 to 5 years. So we're making sure that we're capturing all of those calculations correctly.
Nathan,
Not
are we
taking it-
increasing the projected area of the antennas? Is
The
it
coverage
larger?
area?
Yes. No. The EPA, the projected area, so the wind drag on these antennas, is it increasing or decreasing?
It is decreasing.
Okay.
And I did include, I believe, Kate, in the submittal, not just those installation plans, but also the mount engineering analysis and the overall water tank engineering structural analysis. And again, that all passes well within the safety limits with those additional bolsters added to the handrail or corral. Our ground equipment footprint does not change. That they actually have their own shelter there. They may update or modify some of the radio cabinets inside that shelter, but the ground footprint does not change.
yeah, my quick look at that, I didn't realize that was in the ground shelter, so I'm more worried about adding stuff to the tower. So in this drawing, there's like 6 bolsters. How many? I see bolsters in a drawing. Some are already up there. Is that what I'm getting?
That is, some are up there, and we're adding some additional just to make sure that the support for that handrail is adequate.
Okay. So it's not like we're adding 6 or 8 of these.
No, correct. And the nice thing is that Verizon is willing to do that work, knowing that with the addition of the other tenants' antennas, I think the handrail is probably currently not passing. And they're willing to do the design and the work to make sure that both carriers' equipment is passing under that structural analysis.
Okay. Well, I feel like we have to run this agreement by our lawyer at least. To make sure that there's not contractual info with this, is there?
You should have the draft Fourth Amendment that was drafted by the Verizon attorney.
Oh, okay.
And again, it memorializes the change in equipment to the top of the water tank and then adds the additional time so that the lease does not expire next August.
And we haven't had our lawyer look at this contract yet, have we? So, how about if we table this till next month? Have our lawyer look at the contract and see if we can get an engineer, see if we can get our engineer to look at this possibly. I just worry looking at plans that we don't really know how to read, that we should have someone else look at them too. Just to make sure.
Understandable. And Kate, if anything comes up upon engagement of the village attorney, you have my email address and my phone. Just reach out with any questions or concerns and I'm happy to help.
Absolutely, thank you.
Did anybody else have any questions for Nathan?
Is there an amount?
What's our rental agreement on that? Just refresh my, so.
Let me pull that up for you. I believe your current rent for the remainder of this last 5-year term, I believe your annual rent is roughly $13,976. And with the beginning, if we add these additional terms per the amendment, the new rent starting September 1st of next year would be $16,072.
All right, did anybody else have any questions? Okay. All right, well, thank you for getting this in to us in time to do our due diligence and have our people look it over.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And again, Kate, if you need anything in the meantime, please let me know. And otherwise I'll log back in for your December meeting.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you. All right, item D, streets committee report. We really don't have anything new. Other than hopefully finishing off this street project. John, you want to go over your report, anything? Did anybody have any questions for John on his report?
Did that, the leak on the roof on the auditorium is not the one in the bathroom? I haven't.
And are we still waiting on somebody to get to that?
I called McKinnis, so I'll just have to call somebody else. The problem is I could probably try and locate it myself, but there's no access to get into there unless I cut a hole in the bathroom. I really don't want to do that. But if I have to, that's the last resort. Figure out, it hasn't leaked the last, like today, I went down there, it wasn't leaking, so. I don't know, we did a little caulking on the roof, maybe it took care of it.
Vent pipe?
The vent pipe is in the auditorium, on the auditorium part itself.
Okay.
So I think I got that leak fixed. Other than that, it's just been normal winter, ready for winter stuff. Hopefully it's a mild one.
Do we have a date on insulating the shed?
This, the first week in December.
Cool.
Be there.
Or the cold.
Where it gets really cold, hopefully. I have the heaters already been ordered, so hopefully it all works out where it's done by mid-December.
All right, you got two quotes for the Salter. Item C.
Yes. They look about, not too far apart.
Badger is somebody that we've dealt with quite frequently. They're the low bid. You have confidence with them and they're,
That's who we've got our Salter from in the past.
okay.
They. So. They're pretty much the same two Salters with different brands.
Make a motion to accept the bid for from Badger Body and Truck Equipment in the amount of $8,231.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Salter bid from Badger Truck and Equipment as presented for $8,231. No further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item D, discussion and possible approval of quote for flatbed. And you've got two quotes here.
And then this one's the cheaper one.
This one is cheaper, yes, and I don't think that we need the optional. Board. It's just, I'm assuming that's the board that hangs down off of it, and we wouldn't really need that. The Salter should hang down low enough to, and it might even be better and shoot underneath it if anything got in there.
So that one's 102 versus 105 inches. So the width, one's 81, the other one's 78, so, or 79. Is there anything sticking out to you, John, as to?
I think those are pretty comparable. The two are. I'm not much, I mean, I don't know a lot about flatbeds. Travis would probably know more about a flatbed than me.
And this is just so it's easier to get the Salter on and off.
It's gonna be way easier to get it on and off. The other box is pretty much rusted out. And I think it'll be a lot easier for us to clean. That way we can clean it more often. We got our power washer now, we can just go in there and power wash underneath it, power wash it off and be done. Whereas when it was in a bed of a pickup, it's just way harder.
Yeah, thoughts.
They're comparable beds.
That's kind of what I thought. They pretty much looked identical to me almost. Except that Hillsborough might have had did it have a headache craft on it?
I think they both will.
It says a 40-inch tall headache rack.
Yeah, standard.
Yeah. So if we went with the NITS equipment, you would just assume go with the 6,500, the $850 for install and not the $250
I don't,
tailboard.
that's the only thing that would save is might save the undercarriage of the truck if salt got thrown underneath it. No, it's gonna get there anyway, so I don't think we need it. We wouldn't need the $250 optional tailboard.
Well, if you think it'll help the equipment, I'm not opposed. I just want to know.
I think it's gonna get under there anyway. I mean, no matter what, when you drive on the streets, it shoots up, I mean, it gets under your truck anyway, so.
So the NITS estimate would be 7,350 without the tailboard.
Really.
I'll make the motion to accept the NITS equipment for the Hillsborough 3000 series aluminum bed in the amount of $6,500 and $850 for installation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the quote for a flatbed for the Salter truck from NITS equipment in the amount of 7,350. If there's no further questions, Let's vote on that motion.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
All right,
And with that, we did take the old salter off and put it on one of our other trucks, so we will have a access salter, another salter, backup salter, if you will.
all right. Item E. James. What do you have for us?
Oh, that's the last month, we did get some smoke testing done. The weather didn't agree with us, we only had one day. It rained, we had a few days, we really can't smoke test during the rain. We smoke tested south of the highway from Fifth Street to, the lift station. We were trying to see if we could find a problem across the railroad tracks. No smoke appeared. Could be too deep. Those sewers are really deep. The mains are deep. The manholes are buried deep. So there could still be a problem there. Then we did, let's see, from Ellsworth, the park in Ellsworth up to Dodge, and then Dodge down to 7th. And then we did both ways from Dodge Street, one block each way, because that's just as far as the sewers go. We did find a few, I think it was 3 different manholes where the smoke is coming up from not in the ring where it should be, from out further around the manhole. So I would imagine those 3 need to be rehabbed. I would recommend that in the future. I can get quotes for that.
Yeah.
And then I did find there's a house on Fifth and Dodge that it looks like they hit their clean out with a lawnmower. So I just have to fix that clean out. There was a ton of smoke coming out of there. So.
You know, the last time we did this, we saw one, were you with us that day? Down, just east of the NP Mart. There was one in the backyard there, that kind of common backyard that all 3 of us shared. And it was amazing how much smoke was coming out of that, yeah.
I've never seen it done before.
It was really interesting for me to see how fast that smoke travels down the block. I mean, it's like, you see it coming out of all the functioning vents, just like lights coming on, you know.
So yeah, I'll look into getting quotes for rehabbing those manholes. And then I got one quote from McGuire Iron. I know we had talked about, cleaning the water tower. I didn't get it in the packet, but just so you guys know, it's about 8,400. I thought it was $1,000. I was looking at a different contract, so it's $8,820. I could try to get another quote from Viking to see where they're at. Yeah, over time. That's not something that we could really do during this winter anyway. And then we also discussed getting flow meters for the sewers. The only one that we can find is through USA Blue Book, and it's $5,400. We recommend getting a couple of them, and I know that we have money budgeted, but I think we only have 10 grand budgeted. So I don't know if that's something that if we just try to get one for now, using that budget money, and then see where we're at, and then if we need another one, put it in the packet and vote on another one.
Yeah, I think part of our intention was if we could put one on each end of a section,
Yeah.
we could see if there's infiltration, so more
Well,
gallons show
if
up on
we
the
could
bottom
use
side.
infiltration money and, our annual budget. I think he was talking about using some of that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So that's something we'll sit down and talk about. I think we'll probably want to move forward with that because that could be a tool we can move around, and it would be useful to track a lot of different things, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the apples and oranges to me, just looking at it.
Yeah.
We're trying to see what it's doing.
Mhm.
James, have you ever installed one of these before?
I have not.
I was just curious how long it takes to put one in. John, you doing?
I got a picture of it, so it doesn't really look like there's,
Sits in the bottom.
yeah, it doesn't look like there's much to it. So, I mean, I think
Oh, it's not what I envisioned at all. Okay.
Does it come with a rope to pull it back up?
I would hope so. Otherwise we'd have to get a tripod and all that.
We don't want to get in the way at $5,400. Just quickly going back to the manhole rehabs, have you looked at the ones that have been done? Do you have a feeling on how long those are lasting? Do you think they're lasting well? Have you seen any issues?
Seen any issues on the last couple that we had done that the epoxy ones, those look great. The ones that they just did, they didn't epoxy them, they just routed them. I'm not sure that obviously doesn't last as long as the epoxy. I mean, they look great. I think they're gonna do good, but I just don't know how long they're gonna last for, so.
Is that something they've just changed their method? Because it's the same company, isn't it? It's still the same guys from Kearney?
Yep, it was still Johnson Services. I'm not sure if it just didn't get bid in to where they did both the epoxy and the grout, because they just grouted these.
Okay.
If that was part of the deal when they put their bid into Grand.
Okay. Yeah, let us know if you see anything on that we need to be aware of going forwards, whether we do or don't do them this way or whatever.
I did, so the one that we had a problem with on down on the highway, I don't know if you remember that it's maybe somebody hit it. And so the grout had cracked and that's why all that water was going in there. Well, that the epoxy is supposed to keep that from happening. But all of these manholes that we had done, I mean, they're in concrete, so it's not like somebody's gonna come hit them with anything.
Maybe they decided that it wasn't necessary to epoxy those. Okay. Yeah, if you can find that answer out, I'd be curious why they're different. Because I thought we were paying about the same amount
Yeah, I'm not.
for all of them. Okay.
And I think that's all I got for you.
No. Yeah, I don't see anything else. I had questions with, checking the air relief valves on the force main. That's kind of something that I haven't heard before. Is that, we had a problem with that in the last 3 months or so, was it?
We had one go bad. Yeah, I've done it since I've been here. I
Okay,
don't actually get in there and inspect them, but every one of them has an air release valve that comes up on a post. And you just make sure that there's no water coming out of that, because if there's water coming out, then you know that air release valve
it's failed.
is failed.
Okay.
But-
Or there's too much pressure.
Yeah, I mean, to actually get in there and inspect them, I would have to ruin the county road every time, because they're about 1.5 feet deep in the
Yeah.
county road, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if the county would appreciate that.
Do you think these things fail often in a history, or has anybody told you they fail very often?
Well, in my 6 years, that's the first one.
Okay.
And I don't, how long have you guys had it? Have you had one before?
It's been about 15, 16 years, I
don't
think. I think we're just shy of 20 years for that force main. So,
I know Kyle did say something about it's a rubber gasket that failed. And we could possibly look into fixing all those rubber gaskets before they all
yeah,
end up, because I think they dry out. And that's
Okay.
what the problem is. They dry out and crack.
all right. Anybody else have anything for Travis or James? I'm sorry.
When called word.
Not much.
All right, item B. Travis and I did meet today with with a suggestion for a contract proposal of an adjustment. Just out of curiosity, James, I don't want to put you on the spot and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but meter readings, taking care of meters, doing locates. And what was the other one?
Valve exercising.
Valve exercising. How much would you say, how much of a percentage of your monthly routine are those things?
Reading meters usually, I'd say that's probably about an 8-hour deal. It only takes me about 2 hours to read them, but then there's always a reread.
So a day and a half on the meters.
To read meters. The thing about, it's hard to say on locates because every month's different. I mean, I had a ton of locates with, obviously with the street project. So, I mean, if you get 5 or 6 locates a day, that keeps you pretty busy.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing?
Valve exercise.
Valve exercise.
No, we just mainly valve exercise them when we have to turn them on and off.
Okay.
And I did get a electric valve exerciser, so that should cut down on time for that as well.
Okay.
I don't have like broke down.
I was just asking for a rough estimate and you gave us what I was wanting to know. So, yeah. All right. Anybody have anything else for James? If not, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Item F, Police, Washington County Sheriff's
He
Report.
had to step off the Zoom, but he said he didn't have anything.
Okay. Anybody have anything? You guys working on a quarterly meeting or one set up?
We didn't get one set up yet.
Oh, I forget which two of them.
Well, that's on me. I didn't send out an email.
Okay, all right.
Real quick, when you guys do meet, topic that was brought up was the cars in front, like Saturday night, every slot was filled on the fire department. So
We're not
still
doing this
parking.
yet.
No.
They
And so
need to be
that's,
towed.
I believe what we said before was.
Dan?
They called dispatch. Dispatch is supposed to send the tow truck.
Yes.
They send, right now, they're currently sending the sheriff first and giving them an option to move the vehicles and some of that stuff. And I think if we can reiterate with dispatcher, with the sheriff, that
My
it goes straight to
understanding-
the tow and it gets towed.
My understanding was that.
Right,
the
that's what we had.
Sheriff's Department or the village board has the authority to call in and ask for a tow.
And ask for a tow. So.
Not the sheriff's department, the sheriff's department, the fire chief and the village
Okay.
board. So if Dan calls in for a tow, I think he has all the information he would need.
Okay.
That's why I put the pretty signs right there too.
And I think we've warned him enough. You know, this is the same thing. Nuisance properties, we need to make it hurt.
Yeah.
If it doesn't hurt, nobody cares.
Right.
So,
If they get towed, like if the vehicles get towed once, word's gonna get around,
Yeah.
like you don't park there, like, so, okay. I will share that
if
too.
Dan has
And
any,
I'll
if
share
Dan
that
has
with
any
Dan, too.
questions, have him call me. But I was sure
That's what we had agreed,
that
yeah.
we gave him the approval,
I thought so.
the authority to call and have them towed.
Okay.
And I'm sure dispatch will probably call and check with somebody on the sheriff's department before we do that. And maybe we're not going to eliminate this, but
Right.
we need to keep pushing. And yeah. All right, item G, Parks Committee Report. Travis and Jeremy, do you guys have anything new? Kind of quiet right now this time of year.
Yeah, pretty quiet. I did inquire some information about, a court, what court is that? Pickleball court. Nebraska City putting a couple in and Scott Parsons got connections down there. So he was gonna get some information on what they spent on it, how they did it, who did it. So might give us some insight on somebody close by that's in a court, give us maybe some ideas how to proceed.
Fremont just did it too.
Did they?
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
A couple of their parks, they changed the tennis courts into pickleball.
They just changed them over, huh?
From the way it sounds, we're all about 10, 15 years away from being the prime target group for that. Everybody I know that's a little bit older than us is like they're playing that. Or that seems to be the popular age group, is just a little bit older, so. Library report. Did anybody have any questions or concerns?
Move their library board meeting, so there's no minutes in there. When they gave me their financials today, so that's printed in.
Julie had some pretty cool looking historical stuff. If anybody has an interest in history. She's got a lot of stuff dating way back to the very early days of Bell Creek or Arlington. She seems to be really interested in that, so I'm sure she'd be willing to show people what she's got.
She had brought stuff to the dinner for you.
Did she?
Mhm.
So. Sure she'll track you down, I'm sure.
Okay.
Item H, cemetery. Anything new going on there?
Report at this time.
Nope.
Okay. Item I. Questions or concerns on the building report? Don't see any new starts. Nothing new and exciting. It is kind of exciting to see the new veterinarian building going up. A lot of excitement about that. Item B, clerk report.
We had nuisance abatement, USDA loan audit is due this month, working on that. Travis and I met with, Tony with 12 Points, he's one of the owners, to go over some of our IT concerns. I do have that as a discussion item later on the agenda. Otherwise, pretty usual stuff.
We spend $106 though.
Sorry.
That should not be billed.
Pretty normal stuff.
Well, we talked about it, but
I don't know.
It's software, so that's why I don't know.
Anybody have any other questions for Kate? If not, let's move on to item C, discussion and possible approval of Michael Dinkins' resignation from the planning commission.
So are we down to nobody on there?
We're down to.
Like I hasn't resigned yet.
Travis and I talked today about maybe sitting down and making a job description for the planning commission. Maybe we can work on that. Is that something you think we could email back and forth and kind of have a draft for our next meeting or in a couple meetings? I
I
mean,
would think so. Some of the feedback from the planning commission was that maybe direction on expectations from the board, what we'd like them to be doing for us. That has come up more than once. And so I think anybody here who's got thoughts, or Kate, John, anybody that says this is the piece we're missing from them or how they could help us. I think that would help us to recruit the right kind of folks who want to be a part of something like that.
I think if we had a little more guideline on what we expect from the planning commission, what kinds of, it's gonna be easier to recruit people and say, okay, here's what we expect you to do. Yeah.
And Mike did say he would stay on until we find his replacement.
Well, and that
So
was
we will
important.
have a quorum.
That was important when we had 3 board members, but now we have 2, so I don't know that we can vote on anything.
If we
until have
accept
3.
his resignation, we only have 2.
Right, so we just need to keep it in hold until.
Well, my question for Kate though is, do we appoint the planning commission?
Yes.
They don't actually appoint themselves to it, right? So they wouldn't have to have quorum.
Mm-mm.
So we could accept both their resignations.
Expecting that we would get a quorum by their quarterly meeting in January.
Right, and if something comes up in the meantime, we'll have to address it as a city board versus sending it to the. I guess I'm just saying we could, we wouldn't have to hold them hostage if they didn't want to be on it anymore. And saying you have to stay on here until we find people. Because
The
now
next
we have to
meeting won't be
find
till January.
Possibly fine.
if we do have 1 or 2 candidates willing to join, they can join at any time. Or
Yes, all we have to do is put it on the agenda and vote on appointment. So. But I would like to have a job description, kind of at least a general guideline of what we expect of them. So if anybody has any ideas on either job expectations for the planning commission or nominations for that committee, please get them to Travis and I or Kate, and we'll try and put some time in this month and get something going on that, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah.
they should go with the. Okay, there it is.
So I would say we can, we're gonna set the motion for the approval of Michael Dinkins' resignation with regret, if we have that.
I'll make a motion to accept Michael Dinkins' resignation from the planning commission.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the resignation of Michael Dinkins from the Planning Commission. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McBurney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item D, discussion and possible approval to order notary stamp and bond for Jake to provide notary services at the village hall.
The two quotes in your packet. The cheaper one is from the State Notary Association. The one that's a little bit more is from the National Notary Association. The state one. Fine. Is with everything.
So you have one estimate for 127.45 and one for 187.
Correct. The 187 is from the National Notary Association. The 127 is from the Nebraska Notary Association.
And what's the difference?
There really isn't. One's just a national association, and one's a Nebraska. The state one was fine. They came with everything.
Okay.
I mean, covered. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's still.
It was no big deal. Yeah,
Okay.
we just.
Do you have a preference?
For you.
Do you have any preference?
No, Jake said the Nebraska one is
Okay.
plenty.
I'll make a motion to approve to order the notary stamp and bond for Jake for notary services from Nebraska Notary Association, amount of $127.45.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of ordering a notary stamp and bond for Jake Kahn to provide notary services in the amount of 127.45. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item E, review and discuss municipal attorney firm proposals.
I was hoping to have a couple more, but I didn't hear back. So there's just the one proposal in there from Lindahl, Freeman, Patty, and Lost George.
Seems like this would be appropriate to go into an executive session to discuss.
Yeah.
My motion that we, like the motion board, but I recommend we wait and discuss this in the executive session.
Let's move on to item F, 12 points discussion.
So a couple weeks ago, I'm not really sure what happened. Our software, our hardware in the back room is just very old. And I think outdated and slow, and the drives disconnect frequently. And a couple weeks ago when the drives disconnected, we lost 3 months worth of data and like backups. And so I had 12 points. Angie works working on getting it back. Took all day, but they got it back. So then Travis and I sat down with Tony from 12 points and discussed like why we never do this again. And so I think in the original 12 points agreement, they were to get us like a mapping of our system. We hadn't received that. So Tony said that he would get us that. And then he recommended that we get a small PC, just the one for the back room, like $1,000. And that'll house like the virtual machine that houses all our programs. Because currently right now it's Simple City that's on there, and it's a desktop program that backs up data. And Simple City is going away anyway, but it's a problem right now. So I haven't heard anything back from Tony in relation to all of that, but that's kind of what's going on. So just an update.
So that's the way it goes. Right after we budget for items like this, it's time to replace main computer stuff. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's that. Hopefully we get.
So more information coming, but most likely we're gonna have to buy a new server.
Yes, we need a new PC for back.
It's no more than just a good sized PC. There's no crazy equipment.
Yeah.
His initial recommendation was an $8,000 server. And we walked through that and realized quickly, we don't need that. We don't have data here. It's mostly in the cloud.
Okay.
So we were able to talk him down to what we really needed. It'd be no different than any one of our laptops going out. It'd be about like one of those.
Okay. All right. G-Works discussion.
So G-Works, they've been transitioning from the desktop software to the cloud. And everybody got their G-Works bill for the year. I was originally told in August that it would probably be an increase of 5 to 10%. It went up 26%. And so they actually had a representative calling all the cities to explain the costs. I don't wish to be him, but he said that this increase, so it'll be $16,000, and it is to cover like so not only like the Simple City desktop program, but also the merging to the cloud and covering everything that entails, I guess, because Simple City will be disappearing by the end of next year and it's no longer going to be a thing.
So this is a labor intensive thing that we won't have to pay next year then, is the way it sounds, or?
It'll be 16,000 going forward every year. So, and I just told him like, well, and I asked, I said, okay, so what if we just didn't go to the cloud and we just stuck with Simple City? I know it's going away by the end of the year, but like, this is a lot to justify this cost, I feel like. He said it'd still be $16,000 regardless, even if I requested not to go to the cloud. And so his next thing that he wanted to do was this week, maybe, send me a like ordering agreement for the cloud and explain everything with that. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know what you guys want to do. I can't find another program that's similar to G-Works that covers everything. A lot of clerks are switching to Power Manager, which is what we had beforehand, but Power Manager is only utility billing. It's not the general ledger, accounts payable, receipt management. The automatic payments, I don't think we could do.
So we would lose the front desk.
But we wouldn't have front desk if we.
We would lose it.
Oh, right, yeah. So anyway, I'm not sure, but the cost just is. I brought up my concern that we'd only budgeted for a max of 10% because that's what I was told. And he just said, well, this is the direction G-Works went. I said, okay. So I'm not sure.
Travis,
what to do
you
with
have
that.
any thoughts or input on this?
I'd like to do some research on it. They can't be the only game in town. And maybe
Right.
that's the reason they're raising their prices like they are, is because they've got a captive market.
Mhm.
Maybe not, but I'd like to do a little work on this and see.
Well,
if
we
I
had
can.
talked about eliminating the desktop or the website builder, right? $1,200 for
Yeah,
that.
that'd be a chunk,
Mhm.
be a good start.
Right.
So, a couple options like that. The accounting component, there's even like QuickBooks has a pretty dynamic accounting component that we might be able to swap out. So maybe do a little work here and see if we can find something else that.
Mhm.
When do we have to make an approval on this or switch?
I think this bill is due at the end of December this year. This is for this upcoming.
But for us to
Year.
start, first of the year.
So yeah, this is like, this fiscal year's bill, the 16,000, and it's due at the end of December. So if we want Simple City, well, this will have to be on the next payable, unfortunately.
So we can table this till next month safely, and still get everything done.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna have to be paid next month, but yeah,
We'll have no other option at that point.
right.
I mean,
We don't have anywhere to go.
Right.
with
Okay.
Programs, so.
It's just kind of the price of doing the business that we do.
mhm. Yeah, it might be just that, and just.
Right, because I don't.
So we'll talk about that next month. Item H, we'll probably go into closed session for that. Did you have anything else for us?
Good. I appreciate it, guys.
Hey, thanks for coming down. We appreciate that.